And welcome back. We froze.
Sorry about that, guys. We're having some technical difficulties. We know that when we do these little Zoom meetings, they just like to go all fidgety and just like stop and pause. So apologies about that. Yeah, we were talking about the climate, and I was talking about Saudi Arabia and how hot and dry and dusty it is. You know, it's yeah,
Saudi Arabia, we're talking parts of Asia. Now,
yeah.
Pakistan is, supposedly part of that region as well. And they have floods as well. They've been having a lot of floods over the years. They had one just recently. And every single time they have a flood, it's usually the rural people and the farming people
Ah.
that get left literally floating about in cold water.
That's crazy because I never thought Pakistan would be so prone to flooding. You know, I thought that it was such a heated environment also. Um, and I'm just like, yeah, it just really baffles my mind that all of these countries are actually experiencing extreme weather that they might not have ever experienced before.
Well, it's not just sort of like extreme weather. It's the fact that we do really, really stupid things with our rivers and things. For example, you've got the Euphrates and the Tigris rivers that go down towards Iraq, Saudi Arabia, Iran, Iraq, that kind of area as Iraq. Well, anyway, not 100% sure. It's the biblical region. But the guy that they toppled in 2003 from Iraq, he had actually tried to stop a bunch of a group of people who literally lived and did all their crop growing and stuff in the marshlands at the bottom where these two, the Euphrates, he dried it up because he didn't want them. And I mean, the entire Euphrates, he didn't want the people there. He didn't want the people there. They were doing things he didn't want. So he rearranged the river to suit.
Okay. Rearrange the river. What do you mean by rearranging a river? Like,
well,
they
dam
water?
it. They dam it. They redirect it off into other areas for farming. For example, you've got that problem in Egypt where they're damming between Sudan and Ethiopia.
Right.
There's another place whereby they've actually done it where it's also in sort of like, I think it's in Kazakhstan or some area like that in that particular region of the world. Also, again, the larger part, Central Asia, basically.
Right.
And I think it's also got something to do with Russia, Kazakhstan, and they've had, it was a sea, it was the Aral Sea. And they had certain rivers putting water into this Aral Sea, but the Russian government decided they wanted the farmland in Kazakhstan. So they did little rivulets off of these rivers and off of this sea. And this Aral Sea, which was an inland sea, which people were fishing in, it was a really good functional, societal, environmental, it was everything for them. But because they redirected all the water, there's now nothing left of the Aral Sea. The ships that used to fish on them, the boats that used to fish on them, are like 20 kilometers away from what's left of the water.
That's actually pretty mental. Yeah.
And we don't think these things through. You know, we don't think of the consequences. I mean, with the Euphrates and the Tigris drying up now, you've got an entire region that's going to go thirsty and these are two rivers who have been giving water to that part of the world through 6,000 years of biblical history.
That's
at the very least, wild. and that's just the biblical history thing that I'm talking about.
Well, even talking about these extremes and these huge differences between all these places, I've been learning about the Serbia. I don't know what it's the natives.
Whereabouts.
So I don't know if you've seen that native girl. She's really hugely represented in the media now. She's called Shia Nova. And she's been on TikTok to educate people about natives and her way of living. And it is so cold there.
It must be Siberia.
Yeah, it must be Siberia. And even it was the same native people who went on America's Got Talent. And they did this really beautiful rendition of the Cranberries, but they did it in like the native way. So it's like all of this like throat singing, which was really cool.
Oh, the throat
And
singing stuff.
yeah,
Yeah.
and so cool, making all these like weird animal noises. And they were saying to Simon Cowell, like, 400 and something by Fahrenheit, like how cold it gets. And their way of living, the meat that they eat. And Shianova, the one that I was talking about, she's actually a model now. She was saying, we hunt beluga whale, like so different. Like, and they're getting so much criticism for this, for hunting whales. And it's like, you don't realize that in these cold temperatures, that's really all they have is fish.
But also they have a very, very small population. It's like the Inuits up at Nunavut and stuff like that, and Greenland. They're only hunting them to feed themselves.
Exactly. And to
They're
feed
not
their
hunting them
people.
en masse.
Yeah, exactly. And even that, like, when I think about, well, is it really that bad a thing if you're hunting a beluga whale and that meat, they say that the meat is amazing, it's full of proteins, it's so good for you. It probably feeds their entire village,
For
their
a whole
entire
year.
neighborhood. Like the babies are getting their bellies fed, and
Yeah.
the
They've
children,
hunted one
and they need
beluga
that
whale,
warmth.
it'll feed a village for a year.
Exactly. And they need that warmth. That is literally their sole how to survive, is to hunt and to eat, because they need to keep their bodies warm, otherwise they die.
Yeah, I
Because
mean,
the
and they
bodies
have
need
to
energy.
hunt seals and other things as well. I don't know, because I'm not quite sure
Exactly.
whether they get wool mock clothing up there,
Yeah, like you don't even know. Like you don't. They probably can't go to a Dollarama or a
And
shopping
even
or like
so,
drive
the
around.
clothes that we make for the rest of the world wouldn't be suitable up there. And technical difficulties.
Trace. Oh, there you
Yeah, that
go.
was a technical difficulty again.
I was gonna say, like, it froze at the perfect opportune moment when you were going into your deep storytelling. So continue. What were you gonna say, please? We were talking about the natives and like cold climates and stuff like that.
Yeah, I mean, we don't know if they get warm up clothes up there. And I mean, Canada Goose can make some really good warm clothing for us here in Canada, but is it going to really work up in Nunavut
Yeah.
further
Right.
north?
Exactly.
Are people going to be how many layers do we actually need of
Exactly.
warm up clothing as opposed to actually clothing
Right.
made with actual fur, which yes, we don't like them killing them en masse to make grand profit of. But if you're just doing them to clothe yourselves and your family and your village, it's a different story. But
Exactly. And even
again, the oceans, the weather, and we're being very British here. I mean, I'd
we
like
are.
to talk about climate change, but yeah.
I could talk about it forever. It's such an ever-going subject. Even my cousin actually, woohoo, shout out to you, cousin. I'm not gonna mention names, just for the sake of our privacy. She was actually doing protests to do with climate change up in England, and she got arrested. Naughty. But for
Well,
the good reasons. I was like kind of proud of her. I was like, damn, I don't really hope she's
we
getting
are
arrested,
certainly
but
changing the environment enough
yeah.
so that affects. And again, I'm going to go back to some religion, and I can't remember. I think it's from Isaiah, one of the prophets. He turned around. He said that while man holds dominion over the earth, we do not have. We can't we can't damage it. We shouldn't
No.
be damaging the earth. We might have dominion over it. We shouldn't be damaging it. And with everything that we do, whether we're mining, fracking, changing the course of rivers, we are infecting our environment.
We're gonna have to wrap this one up.
We are going to have to.
There
Nonetheless,
you
we are
go.
continually altering our environment, which in the long term is going to affect whatever we do. The flooding, the fires, the forests,
Speaking of all this climate change, people on like TikTok and all of these influencers, they should really use their platform to speak up and like say something. You know who I appreciate about this though? Leonardo DiCaprio. He is a horn dog for the environment. He
He
actually goes
is,
to
but he's had his
lectures.
own failures in that area as well, trying to sort of
True,
like build towns around environment and then screwing that one up.
true,
Again,
true.
it's nice that you've got somebody rich or somebody famous trying to do these things, but we need more practical things. We need to be far more
Absolutely,
practical, and we need to be more aware of our consequences. And on that
absolutely.
note, which ain't funny, we're gonna say please, please. Oh my lordy, I did lose my little sticky tape here. There we go. Hide the girl. Please like
Farewell for now.
and subscribe. Doot.
And
And
we'll see you next time, guys.
we will see you next time. Bye bye, Lorna.
Bye, Tracy. Au revoir.
See you soon, guys.
See you soon.